So I've been thinking to myself lately, what makes a good treatment center? And I think it boils down to two things. The first is your team, and the second is your program structure. But I think the most important part of any treatment center is their team. You can advertise the best possible program structure in the world, and have all the bells and whistles and make it look absolutely fantastic and sound fantastic. But if you don't have the team of people you need to facilitate that program, then it's all for nothing. When you're working with addicts specifically, these are people I would know, being one myself, that it's a very complicated process, recovery. It's not just, we're gonna look at this or that or the next. I mean, there are many levels to a person. I mean, everybody's so focused on addiction and recovery, and very few people actually focused on that person as an individual. Now, the concept of Ezekiel House kind of revolves around looking at a person holistically. In order to do that, you need a bunch of people that can look at every part of that person holistically. So I'll explain that to you in a second. We look at a person that comes into the treatment center, we see them as a bunch of things. Firstly, physical, social, emotional, psychological, spiritual. So there's a whole bunch of things that make a person who they are. And brokenness isn't just addiction. Okay? Addiction is just a result of a lifelong problem. You need to look at a person from a physical perspective, the actual physical self, their health, their surroundings, basically just physical, okay? Social, obviously, the group interactions, the interactions with society or lack of interaction with society, spiritual, emotional and psychological, a person's heart and a person's mind, a person's thinking, a person's emotional state. And then there's the spiritual side, a person's relationship with God, or relationship, whatever it is that drives a person spiritually and where that comes from. But if you can't look at that person like that, you're never going to come to a realistic solution. You're never really going to come to a place where recovery is attainable or sustainable. So your team is incredibly important. When I say team, I mean you have to have addictions counselors, you have to have psychological counselors, you have to have psychiatric counseling, you have to have medical assessments. So it's incredibly important for this team to be there. Operations managers that run the day-to-day program structure of that individual person. There cannot be a program that suits everyone. Such a thing cannot exist. There can be a routine from day to day, but a program structure has to be tailored for an individual, and that speaks towards their strengths and as well as their weaknesses. And you have to have people that are very highly trained and very experienced in these fields in order to look at someone physically, emotionally, psychologically, socially, and spiritually. So this is what you should be looking for when you're looking for a treatment center. It's not just how nice it looks on the website or how nice it's explained to you by someone that works there, or what the website looks like. This is not what you should be looking for. The questions you should be asking is A, what does your team look like? B, what's your program structure look like? C, how long is this program structure? Because short-term treatment for addiction is, let's just say it how it is, it's a waste of time. And how are you as a treatment center going to address this person? So if you have a good team that can facilitate a good program structure, then you're on the right road. Ezekiel House has both. We've been doing this for 11 years. Just the other day we were visited by the Department of social development, and I was very pleased to hear from them that they think that Ezekiel House is one of the best, if not the best, personalised treatment model in South Africa. And we've worked really hard to get it there, but I'm not trying to blow horns or shine badges. I'm just saying that this is how it's supposed to be. Okay? If you truly want to help an individual, you have to be able to look at that individual as an individual in every possible scope of their lives and speak to that person, to their strengths, and help a person to realize where their weaknesses lie. And for some people that is in their physical state, in their social state, emotional state, psychological state, or spiritual state for that matter. So yeah, I think this is what makes a good treatment center, and I think that when you're looking for one, these are the questions you should be asking. And to make sure that you don't make the mistake of putting a person through 17 treatment centers that aren't doing this, and then inevitably ending up at a place that does do this, but there's no longer any finances, or there's no longer any time, or the relationship is too far broken. Just be very circumspect when you're looking for a treatment center. The cost is obviously a problem when it comes to treatment centers in South Africa, but if you were to weigh up what you would pay over a period of time in the wrong places versus what you would pay doing it right the first time, it's a non-starter. I can tell you now, going through 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 places, which does happen a lot more than you think it does, versus going to one place and paying the money. I can tell you now, those 15 places or 10 places or 5 places will have worked you out 10 times more than going to a place that can just help from the start and look at a person as an individual from the start. And just bear in mind these things when you're looking for a treatment center. And for those of you who are out there that have done the program and that are going on with your lives, well done for getting to where you are now. Stay strong and don't make any mistakes, and if you do, you know where we are, and if you don't, you also know where we are. So take it easy, enjoy that further.